Welcome back to Public Affairs on Peach. At this time of year, bold, life-changing declarations are made by millions of us. But making health-related New Year's resolutions is the easy part. It's keeping them that can get tough. The major reason healthy resolutions fail is because they may be too big to achieve. Now, we are back with Dr. Michael Smith, Chief Medical Editor at WebMD. Dr. Smith, let's talk a little bit about this. How do we stay on track?
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Most people just really go for things that are way too big. Take lose weight. You know, so many of us want to do that. But if you think about having to lose 50 pounds, that's completely overwhelming. Like, how are you going to go from point A to point B and lose 50 pounds? Instead, think of more of like a 5-pound approach. It feels more reasonable, more reachable, but it's still specific. We know that people who make specific goals are about 10 times more likely to actually achieve them. So you want to make them reasonable, but still specific.
And any other things that you suggest? Of course, probably not giving up. I would assume that happens often.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to start something. It's really tough to stick with it. You know, we know about with healthy resolutions, after about a week, already 25% of people have failed to reach their kind of keep it up. After about 6 months, we're really down to about 50%. So with weight loss especially, you're going to have setbacks. It's guaranteed. You'll have some weeks where you won't lose any weight. You might actually even gain weight. It's no big deal. It's part of the process. Just analyze it, think about what you might have done differently, and ease up on yourself. People often give up. They really get frustrated and say it's hopeless. It's absolutely not. As long as you're continuing to move in a forward direction, you're doing what you need to do.
I saw one of your other tips is to surround yourself with support, maybe even have a buddy, be it your partner or whatever, that you can try to work on losing weight together. That sometimes helps keep the motivation
No
up.
question. Helps motivate each other. And what people need to realize, though, is not everybody is going to support your weight loss effort. Now, you don't do it consciously, but if you're losing weight, if you're becoming healthy, what does it say about them if they're not also taking the same steps? So surround yourself with people that actually motivate you. If you don't know of anyone, post your weight loss goal even on Facebook. Let your friends check in on you and help motivate you that way.
Use that social media to your advantage,
Absolutely.
right? So let's discuss exercise. The new year, we talk about getting in shape, and there's excitement around that, joining gyms. Yep. I don't know how you feel about joining gyms. You talked a little bit about how you don't necessarily have to get in shape. So maybe you can talk about that failed resolution.
A gym is great if it's for you. You know, we see gym memberships go up like 12%. Some of them even pop up like 50% this time of the year. Obviously, it does fall after that. But if gyms aren't for you, you can work out anywhere. The good thing about a gym is you're surrounded by other people who are exercising or motivated. They can also help motivate you, but really whatever works for you. Again, make sure you start off slow and go slow, because if you go too fast, you're going to get frustrated, and then all that is going to do is set you back and you'll just give up. So whatever you do, just start off slow.
I recently did a news report on gym memberships, and there are millions of us that have memberships. But interestingly enough, over 2/3 of us never use them.
That's kind of crazy. You know, you're paying $20, $30, maybe even more dollars a month, completely going to waste. People keep them, though, because they think, I will go back. So they are trying to motivate themselves. It's unfortunately just not working. But again, if you're not doing anything today, go to the gym for 5 minutes. It's more than you're doing today, and you're moving in the right direction.
And it will help with all those other things, the screenings we talked about.
Yep.
If you have issues like diabetes or cholesterol or blood pressure, it's going to help improve those areas of your life. Now, here are some other exercise tips. You talked about first working out for 1 minute. Really? 1 minute?
I mean, if it's more than you do today, absolutely. I know it sounds kind of silly and ridiculous. Why waste my time? There's no question that if it's more than you did yesterday, then you're moving in the right direction towards getting healthy, towards losing weight, towards getting fit. It's such an important thing. And once you work out for a minute, you'll realize this ain't so bad. I can do 2 minutes tomorrow. Before long, you'll actually be at that 30 minutes, and it'll be a habit where you're not actually having to begrudgingly go to the gym every day. It actually feels good. You realize how much better you feel by doing it.
Yeah, it's very discouraging, I think, for a lot of folks that work out too hard up front.
Yeah.
And they think, oh, I can do 30 minutes or 45 or an hour, when they haven't exercised in several months, and then you're sore, you burn out, you don't like it, it wasn't fun, and I'm not going to do it anymore, as opposed to just slowly and gradually building. That's like you talked about.
There's so many excuses to not working out. You don't have time, it's boring, it hurts, it's not fun. The really thing is, though, to find solutions. And if that 1 minute a day is your solution working towards a longer term goal, I'm completely cool with it.
I would be willing to say that eating is another failed resolution. People talk about eating healthier in the new year and throughout the year, and that's something that's difficult for all of us to do.
Yeah.
And you have some tips, right?
Well, think about eating. It's something we do multiple times a day. And if you're not really keeping in mind healthy eating today, to go from there to actually eating a healthy meal is overwhelming. Again, completely start small. I don't care if it's one extra vegetable a day. It's just eating one salad a day in place of a meal you used to eat. A lot of us know what to do. We realize that big greasy steak might not be the best health decision. But how do we go from that, what we're used to actually eating a salad and preparing it and taking the time? And it can be done. You know, cost is another important thing. People think it's a lot more expensive to eat healthy. I saw an interesting report just the other day. A woman actually spent the same amount that someone on food stamps spends on a family of 4, and she was able to do it. I mean, it was just a test for her, but it shows that you can do it. Yes, it's a little more work. You have to make smart choices.
Now, tell me about this 80-20 rule and what that is.
Don't ever eliminate anything. That's my rule, especially when it comes to eating. I have a huge sweet tooth. If I knew I could never have another piece of cake, I don't know what I would do.
You're not living.
Yeah, exactly. But 80% of the time, think about actually making good choices. 20% of the time, go all out. When I first got started in making those real significant changes, I took 1 day a week, absolutely ate anything I wanted. By the end of that day, I was like, okay, that's enough, and I was ready to jump back on board and stay good for 6 days, knowing that at the end of that week again, I could eat whatever I want, eat that piece of cake.
You know, is it good to have a pattern for eating healthy, like you just talked about? For example, I'm going to eat healthy or have vegetables in every meal Monday through Friday, and then on the weekends with the family, we're going to dine out and go eat at our favorite restaurant, and maybe we'll splurge a little bit and go off of our diet plan. Is that okay? Do you think that's fine?
Absolutely. If a pattern works for you, what we do in my home is actually we take 1 day a week. We cook most of our food for the entire week, because if you formulate your eating plan, you write it down, and you know you're going to stick to it, you'll make much better choices.
Fantastic. This is great information. Thank you so much for being on the program.
My pleasure.
Now, if you want more information from Dr. Michael Smith, log on to webmd.com for all the details. Great advice. Coming up next, breaking bad habits, how to stop smoking, overeating, and other bad habits we just can't seem to break. That's coming up right after this break on Public Affairs on Peach.